Panzer III, officially known as the Panzerkampfwagen III, was a key element of Germany's armored forces during the early stages of World War II. Developed in the 1930s, it became the backbone of the Wehrmacht's tank divisions, playing a crucial role in Germany's early blitzkrieg tactics. Its evolution, design, combat history, and eventual obsolescence form a compelling chapter in the history of armored warfare. Development and design origins. The origins of the Panzer III trace back to 1935, when Germany began rearming in defiance of the Treaty of Versailles. The German High Command recognized the need for a new medium tank that could engage enemy armor effectively. At the time, the German military doctrine divided tanks into two primary roles: infantry support and anti-tank operations. While the Panzer IV was being designed for infantry support with its high explosive armament, the Panzer III was intended to serve as the primary tank for engaging other armored vehicles. The design specifications were first issued to various German manufacturers in 1936. Daimler-Benz, MAN, Rheinmetall-Borsig, and Krupp submitted competing designs. Daimler-Benz's prototype, designated the Panzer III, was ultimately selected due to its balance of mobility, firepower, and ease of production. Technical specifications and evolution. The Panzer III's initial models were equipped with a 37mm KWK 36 L45 anti-tank gun, the same caliber as the main armament of most German tanks at the time. The reason behind this was to standardize the caliber with Germany's standard anti-tank weapon, the Paquet 36. Early variants, such as the AUSF, a through F, were also outfitted with relatively thin armor, between 15mm and 30mm, adequate against small arms but vulnerable to anti-tank guns. The Panzer III was notable for its advanced engineering. It utilized a torsion bar suspension system, which offered superior off-road mobility compared to earlier tanks like the Panzer I and II. Its 5 road wheels, supported by independently sprung torsion bars, allowed for a smoother ride and better handling. The turret featured a 3-man crew configuration: commander, gunner, and loader, which was revolutionary at the time. This allowed the commander to focus entirely on battlefield awareness and command tasks, while the gunner and loader concentrated on operating the main armament, a factor that greatly increased combat effectiveness. As combat experience against better armored Allied tanks, such as the French Char B1 and Soviet T-34, began to accumulate, the Panzer III's armament and armor were continuously upgraded. The AUSF G and H models saw an increase in frontal armor to 50mm, while the AUSF J introduced a thicker 50mm KWK 38L42 gun, providing more effective penetration. However, by the time the AUSF M was rolled out, the Panzer III's 50mm gun was becoming inadequate against the new generation of Allied tanks, prompting its gradual relegation to secondary roles. Operational history and impact. The Panzer III saw its first combat during the invasion of Poland in 1939, where it performed adequately against the relatively light Polish armor. However, it truly proved its worth in the Battle of France, 1940, and the early stages of Operation Barbarossa, 1941. During these campaigns, the Panzer III was considered superior to most of its adversaries, thanks to its combination of speed, firepower, and armor. The Panzer III played a pivotal role in the German blitzkrieg tactics, supporting infantry and engaging enemy tanks while operating alongside the Panzer IV, which focused on infantry and anti-fortification roles. During the invasion of France, Panzer III's outmatched the French light tanks and were on par with the British Matilda I, which lacked the armament to counter its armor effectively. However, in the Soviet Union, the Panzer III began to show its limitations. The arrival of the T-34 medium tank and the KV-1 heavy tank marked a turning point. The Soviet tanks' sloped armor, thicker plating, and more powerful 76.2mm guns could easily outmatch the Panzer III. Even with subsequent upgrades to the 50mm KWK 39L60 in later versions, the Panzer III was unable to match the firepower and armor of these new adversaries. This inferiority was brutally exposed in battles such as the one around Moscow in late 1941 and in the subsequent Soviet counter-offensives. By mid-1943, during the Battle of Kursk, the Panzer III was increasingly relegated to secondary roles, such as reconnaissance and infantry support, or converted into specialized vehicles like the Sturmgeschütz III, Stug III, a highly successful assault gun and tank destroyer variant. The Stug III, which shared the Panzer III's chassis but mounted a more powerful 75mm Stug 40 L48 gun in a fixed superstructure, went on to become one of the most produced armored fighting vehicles of the war. Obsolescence and final use. The gradual shift in German armored doctrine and the emergence of more advanced tanks such as the Panzer IV, upgunned to a long-barreled 75mm, and the formidable Panther, meant that the Panzer III was rendered largely obsolete by 1943. Production of the Panzer III ceased in 1943, after around 5,174 units had been built. Remaining Panzer III chassis were either converted to support roles such as command vehicles or recovery tanks, or rebuilt as Stug 3s, which saw extensive action until the war's end. Despite its decline as a frontline tank, the Panzer III continued to serve in various theaters until 1945. It was used in North Africa, where its reliability and mobility in desert conditions made it popular with the Afrika Korps, and on the Eastern Front, often used by second-line units or in defensive roles. In these later years, the Panzer III faced an overwhelming array of superior Allied tanks, such as the American Sherman and the Soviet IS-2, yet continued to serve bravely in its diminished role. Legacy and conclusion. The Panzer III's legacy lies in its contributions to German tactical doctrine and its role in shaping the development of future tanks. It demonstrated the value of a three-man turret crew configuration and set the standard for mobility and crew ergonomics. Though it was outclassed by more powerful tanks as the war progressed, the Panzer III was pivotal in the early German victories, symbolizing the strength and agility of the Wehrmacht's armored forces. In the end, the Panzer III stands as a testament to the rapid pace of technological and tactical evolution in armored warfare during World War II. Its strengths and eventual shortcomings reflect the broader narrative of Germany's initial success and eventual decline on the battlefield, making it one of the iconic tanks of the Second World War.